What's going on, beautiful people? We are definitely going to recap and react to episode 11 of Unknown, a Taiwanese BL series that I already told you guys slaps. It's on point. It's where it's at. If you're not watching, I would tell you you need to get on because you are missing out. And stay tuned to our post. I will be posting a link soon this week for a live. Yes, it's a lot of things we need to chat about. A few things that I've seen that, are a bit cringy and kind of rub the sister a little bit kind of way. I don't know if it's a wrong way, but we going to adjust it. We going to get to it. We going to chat about it. So make sure you pay attention to our post on the community post, and we'll post the link for our live this week. So let's jump right on into the intro for the recap and the reaction to Unknown episode 11.
I'm feeling it. My bones telling me it's right. It's so different. But when you take me to the light, it's like a cigarette. And I'm burning at your lips. That's so innocent.
If you don't know, now you know. Welcome back to hashtag J Podcast. Yes, it's your podcast with all your BL drama reactions, a few BL manhwas, anime, and our gossip and gossip of real BL actors in this BL universe that we love in. Giving our unapologetic opinion with a few dashes of light. Okay? If you new to the channel, welcome. And make sure you guys like the video. I see a lot of you guys are viewing the video, but you're not liking the video. So make sure you guys like the video, get us up in the algorithm so more people can see us and join and get a part of, like DJ Richie Sky like to say, a part of the chatterization. Okay? So we're going to hop on into this recap of Unknown episode 11. As I told you in the previous video, episode 10, we're starting to get more information regarding Qian's feelings and his past. There's certain things about his past that we didn't get to touch on because we was more so getting into the love story between him and Yuan. So we're gonna get a bit more backstory on Qian and basically get a full understanding why there was so much hesitation and restraint from really following his feelings that he knew he kind of felt for Yuan, and also get a clear understanding why he was so confused. You know what I mean? So let's recap and react, okay, to Unknown episode 11. So in this scene, we see here that Qian is kissing Yuan, and Yuan he just don't know what to do with himself because he's been waiting for this moment all his life. And as you can see, Qian is the one who initiates this kiss. So you already know Yuan's like, what's going on here? Let me, act in this moment because who knows what's gonna happen, right? So as things is progressing, they're making their way to the bedroom. They trying to get body to body. Yuan been waiting for this moment for a long time. And Sheehan asks, aren't we moving too fast? And he's like, no, I've been waiting for this all my life. This isn't fast at all. You know what I mean? You don't even know what I dream of at night. And if you've been watching this series and Yuan been fiending for Shin ever since he was like a child, ever since he was young. So Shin is his first love, his first everything. And to finally get this moment and to be with the person you've been wanting to be with all like majority of your life, this was a moment where you just had to give it for Yuan. because he's been waiting for this moment. We've been waiting for this moment for him too, because we all knew that these two were in love with each other, but it was just so many things, so many walls that we couldn't understand why those walls were there. And in episodes, let's see, about 9, 10, and 11, we get more of a clarification on Qian and understanding why he was playing in our faces. You know what I mean? So they loving on each other. But before this even got to this point, there's a point where Qian stops and he doesn't want to go that far with him before they got to that part. He felt like he still haven't figured out his feelings. He didn't know. He's still in a state of confusion, and I think the state of confusion he was in, it was the fact that he kind of didn't want to believe what was happening, because you have to remember Shan, Yuan, and Lily have all grown up as a family, like brother and sister. So it's a shift in Shan's head that Yuan has already made since he was a child. So Yuan has already switched in his head that Shan is not his brother. He's the love of his life. I think that Yuan continued to use the brother euphemism because he knew Shan saw him that type of way. So I think it's out of respect is why he kept and even still mention him as his brother, because at the end of the day, that's what everybody knows them as. So with Shan, it's like all of this is happening at once, and he hasn't had time to process and to make that shift that Yuan has made years ago. So he's like, "Hey, I don't know if I want this yet." He's like, "I can't go up there with you." And this is when Yuan is like, "Listen, listen, listen. You is not ruining this moment that I have been waiting for all my life." You feel me? Yuan was like, "Listen, Shin, I'm tired of you playing in my face. We ain't playing today. We ain't playing that type of game. We going to bed, and I don't mean bed. You mean what I'm saying? He be hitting them sheets, but we definitely gonna be some freaks tonight." That's basically what he's saying. He's like, "Listen, you giving it up, and I'm giving it up tonight, and I ain't playing no damn games with you, right?" So I like how Yuan just like had to, gather Shan together. Like, listen, 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 bro. We we here now. We done clarified. I done heard that you can't live your life without me, and you already know what that means. Come on, stop playing. So he said, "You do you really not get it? I want to be more than just my brother. I want you to rely on me when you're down." See, he laid it on thick on Shan. I want you to be able to do what? To tell me anything on your mind. I want to be with you for the rest of my life. Ooh, can I? Let me tell you something. In that moment, Yuan was like, listen, you could see in his face, like, these two really gave. Like, they really gave to these roles. And I don't think if you guys have seen a previous video that I talked about with these two when they did an interview, and I gave you guys a little information that I found out a while back with another BL series from Taiwan, that they really make sure that the two main characters spend a lot of time with each other prior to recording these series so they can form a relationship and have more of an understanding with each other. And I get it because their method in acting flows better, and it's very convincing. Like, you get sucked into the story because they're so realistic. So that's what I have to say. I have to give it to them because they really did their thing. The acting in this series is so good, and the friend Sang Pang is from what is the BL series? My Tooth, Your Love. He plays the Hyung in that BL series, and that's another really good one. So let's get back to it. So he said, "Can I?" He said, "This thing about us, baby." Then we flash to what's going on. So we already know Qian said yes, right? Because the magic is happening. Yuan is finally getting what he wanted. And you're really happy for Yuan and you're really happy for Qian because throughout the series, Qian really deserves someone to love him and to want to take care of him because he takes care of people his whole life. And finally, he's presented with someone who want to take care of him and want to be with him for the rest of his life with all the mess and taking him with his past and know what he's been through and understands what he's going through and knowing how to handle him because Sheehan is not an easy person to deal with. Like he's not. So they're finally loving on each other, and this is the morning after, right? This is the morning after, and Yuan is just like, I gotta pinch myself. I gotta know that this is real. And Sheehan looks very peaceful. He looks very well rested. It must have been a good night. It must have been a good night. But this is where Yuan tells him he had to bite himself to make sure he wasn't dreaming. Because like he said, you don't know what I dream about at night. He dreams about him and Shan being together, and obviously getting body to body, body to body a few nights. So he had to bite himself to know if this was real or was he really dreaming, right? Because now these two are officially together. They're officially boyfriends. And you finally get the answer that Sheehan gave him. And he said, okay. And I listen, Sheehan is a little cutie. The both of them are cute. Now we get into the next morning where they have their morning recap of the events of last night. And who knows, they may have had a little morning tat, right? And Yuan sneaks out the room, and in the process of sneaking out the room, Lily heard him, came out the room, knocked on the door, and she's looking at him like, well, what happened? So Lily's thinking that them two fought. Lily's not really putting two together that they're together. Not as of yet. But I think she likes to play dumb. I think a part of her mind knows. But in this moment, she thought they were fighting to learn that they're all good. She's good. And they move on. So in this scene here, we have Lei and Dr. Lynn. Now, Lei and Dr. Lynn have history. They used to go to school with each other. And I feel like low key that them two could have been something if they decided to go another route with the series. I feel like these two could have had a little relationship on the side because it looked like them two have like an unspoken type of chemistry with each other. But with these two, you can tell Dr. Lin really cares about Lei, and Lei basically reassures Dr. Lin that he's not back to his old ways, and he also reassured Dr. Lin that Xian and Yuan is good because the higher ups is going to handle Hugh. Now, remember, I told you Hugh is the reason why Yuan and Xian got into the whole situation with Lei doing the Russian roulette in episode 9. He's basically saying he has to pay for for the stunt he pulled because at the end of the day, he came for someone. He basically went against the code of the organization and he wasn't supposed to go after Sheehan because Sheehan basically paid his debt to the organization by doing those 3 rounds of MMA he was doing. So, I mean, there was no reason for him to come for him or attack his family. So he was going to be dealt with. And Lei is basically assuring Dr. Lynn like he's not up to his old ways. He's basically going to live a normal life. So that's why I feel like them two may have had something going on. I'm just saying. Now this is where Yuan and Qian they go on their first date. Yuan told Qian he wanted to go on a date. And also I want to point out when it comes to Taiwanese BLs, I can only speak for this BL because this is something that I noticed particularly with this one. And also I noticed it in Cherry Blossoms After Winter. When it comes to the top and the bottom, this is just my opinion. This is my depiction. I see it as they dress the top in dark masculine colors like black, grays, navy blues, as you see Sheins in a navy blue. And they put the bottoms in more unisex colors like yellows, pinks, like pastels. I think that's how you can tell them apart because I've been telling them apart like that from the few dramas that I've watched. Over the course of time, the couple of years, I've noticed the color of their clothing kinda indicates who's the top and who's the bottom. Now, I've only really experienced this, like I said, with the Taiwanese BL dramas. I can't say that with all because Thai dramas, they all be wearing all sorts of colors, and you can't really go by that logic. But when it comes to Taiwanese BL dramas, particularly a few of them, just pay attention that the character who's the bottom tend to wear unisex colors, like yellows, pinks, and like I said, pastel colors. Like as you see, Yuan is in a pastel yellow. It's a unisex but masculine at the same time, and you see Shin's in a navy dark blue. So just throwing that out there. I don't know if I'm the only one, but if you kinda picked up what I picked up, drop a comment below. And drop a few BL dramas that you feel kinda coincide with what I just said, because it's just something that I have noticed over the course of years of me looking at BL dramas that I've noticed that that's really how I pick out the top and the bottom when it comes to Taiwanese BL. And like I said, there's a few BL dramas, like a few other cultures you can say that, like say for instance, Stay With Me. If you notice that Suya wore more like white, the white version of their clothing, and Woobi wore the black version. And Woobi is the top and Suya is the bottom. So it's more so I pay attention to the colors that the characters are wearing, depending on the BL drama to determine who's the top and who's the bottom. In case if you guys didn't know, you can kinda use it for yourself because 'cause I've seen a lot of comments under a few of my videos where people ask that question. So, depending on the BL drama, this is a way to navigate that curiosity you may have. Alright. So, they go on their first date, and Yuan told Qian he wanted to go somewhere nice because where they at is where they usually go out to eat. But Sheehan had the guy set it up a certain type of way to, like, a date, and he said, "I wanted wine," and that's when the guy brought out the wine, and Yuan was like, "Ooh, look what you do for me." And they really enjoyed the date. Yuan surprised Sheehan with a kiss, and Sheehan, of course, he blushes, don't even know what to do with himself because Yuan gives that energy. You know what's so crazy? When you watch this series, you would have logically thought that Yuan would have been the top in that relationship. Sheehan was definitely giving bottom vibes, and it's so funny with this series. Whoever produced the series knew what they were doing because once they get to certain parts of the series, you're really thrown for a loop because you really thought in your head that Sheehan would have been the bottom. and Yuan would have been the top. But come to find out, you can honestly say that Yuan is giving power bottom energy. That's what we was getting. It wasn't top energy. It was power bottom energy. So kudos to Yuan because I mean, who also give power bottom energy, you can say Babe from Pit Babe. He gives power bottom energy. But Yuan was giving us power bottom energy, and that was what was going on. All right. So in this scene, we have Qian, he's sitting on a bench and he's basically outside of the doctor's office. And in this point is where Qian basically gets a call from the doctor's office the next day after their date to come to a doctor's appointment, and he finds out that he has to have surgery on that clot on his cranial nerve. For the simple fact is it's possible that he can die from it, right? Especially since it's agitated, it's active, and it's causing him problems. Now, the doctors let him know what possibly can happen to him during and after the surgery. And this is Sheehan really like beating himself up, just taking it on the chin because you got to realize all of this is happening right around the time where now him and Yuan is really living out their lives, really pursuing this relationship and this love that has been procuring for so many years. For him to have to go through a surgery and possibly he has to take care of him, it's a lot for him to think about. So the doctor lets him know that even if you regain consciousness after the surgery, it might still affect your daily life to some extent. So he feels that even after the surgery, and if he survives the surgery, he may be a burden on his family and even more so a burden on Yuan because Lily has her own life. Now, like we discussed, it came out that Sang Pang and Lily are dating. So in this conversation, Yuan is basically telling Shein that Sangpang and Lily's coming over, and basically for Shein to get his shit together and don't be acting up. And he's like, "Well, since when he introduced himself to come to come over?" And they have the conversation, and Shein says something in the reference that he's happy that Lily is smart enough to be able to take care of herself and be able to, be safe. And in the context of how he's talking, you want sense that something ain't clean in the milk. He sense that Sheehan is holding something back from him. And Yuan ain't no fool. Yuan knows his man. He know his man like the back of his hand. Now they were supposed to meet for dinner, but Sheehan never showed up. And Yuan went to go pick him up from work, but he never went to work. So Yuan is like, well, where the fuck is he at? He told me he was going to work. You ain't at work. You ain't at home. What's going on? So he says, you better not be hiding anything from me. So he already knew, Yuan already knew from that morning that something wasn't clean in the milk. And he knew something was wrong with Shin and Shin was holding something back from him. Like I said, Yuan knows Shin like the back of his hand. He even knows Shin's mannerism when he's lying. So Shin can't hold nothing back from Yuan. That's what you learn from the series. Now this is Shin. He's literally like taking on everything he was told. Now in this flashback, this is Shin and Lily's mother. And like I told you, she was a stone cold addict. As you can see, she was into a lot of things. You know what I mean? I.e., what you can see, the okie dokie, the artichoke. She was into, and he really had to witness that from his mother. And he had to take care of his sister and also shield the sister from all of this. And when he says being a burden is his mother, addiction is really a sickness. And his mother was sick. He had to take care of his mother. And he was exposed to a lot of things that put a lot of type of bad visuals of death. How his depiction on death was really messed up from this whole situation. So in this scene here, his mom is walking into the light and it really messed Qian up because this is why he didn't want to get the surgery. He doesn't want to be a burden on Yuan because that is his depiction on, walking into the light. It wasn't a very conducive and it wasn't something a child of his age should have been exposed to or dealt with. All aspects of it. Her what she liked to do for fun, what led her into the light. He should not have been exposed to it, but he was. And this is how it messed him up because now he doesn't want to ever be in that state, whether as an addict or something that naturally happens to him. He doesn't want to be that person to Lily and Yuan, especially Yuan. In this conversation, right there, Yuan basically takes the note from Qian and see what the doctors had to say about his condition and what he has to do going forward. So Yuan is basically like, hey, we can do this as long as we got each other, we can do it. So he basically gives him a story of how he felt being in New York and basically how he just preferred to come home because that's where he felt more comfortable. And this is when Qian basically breaks down to Yuan and tells him he's afraid of becoming like his mother, becoming a burden on them and them having to watch him basically leave and go into the light. And he basically tells Yuan that he wants him to make a promise. And the promise that he wants Yuan to make is if something was to happen to him, he wants Yuan to let him go and to live his life, right? And Yuan, that phase, like I'm telling you, they know how to do it. But you can see Yuan really was like, listen, you're really taking me there. And he lets Qian gets it out. He says, let me go, okay? If something was to happen to him, let him go. And this is when Yuan gets up, rubs his hand, and he bites the living shit out of Qian. And the reason why he bit Qian was to make him understand the pain that he makes him feel when he says things like that. And to Yuan is like Qian making a decision about himself and his life without him. And Qian not realizing that he's no longer alone. You are in a relationship with somebody. Your choices is not just your choices. It's our choice. You know what I mean? And that's what he needed him to understand. So he says, does that hurt? Let's see. Does it? Yeah, he was like, does that hurt? Does it? Do you know how much it hurts me? Listen, Yuan told him, when you resign yourself to fate just like that. He tells him, with Chin, look at me. And he looks at him and he says, you'll do what needs to be done. You'll undergo surgery. Preach. I'll always be with you. And that's when Yuan just had to gather Qian up. And that's what Qian needs. Qian is a different type of breed. Qian needs that tough love. Sometimes he can get that fluff love, but to really gather Qian, he needs that tough love. He needs that, that listen, you ain't gonna play in my face. We ain't doing this. This is what we gonna do, and you gonna do what I say what you gonna do. That's how you have to gather Qian, and Yuan knows that. And that's why he's the best. He's like, got it? Because he don't want to hear it. And Qian's like, yes, he got it. He got it. This is how they ended that conversation. It's just the way Yuan came for Qian, and Yuan knew exactly where to find Qian. Now, the location where he found Qian is so simpatico because where he found him is where they first met each other. When Yuan was a child and he was an orphan living in the streets, that's where he used to sleep. And Qian would walk past and he would feed him, put a coat on him, and eventually one day Yuan followed Qian home and Qian let him inside. And they've been inseparable ever since. So that's why Yuan knew where to find Qian. Okay? That's how he knew. And in the end, they come home, and that's all the loving family indulge you unconditionally because they love you so much. And that's how the episode ended. I want to tell you guys that this series slapped, and this episode just really bundled up Qian's character and gave you a full understanding on why it was so hard for him to really accept anyone in, whether it was a female or a male, in his life, because there was certain things he did not want to expose that person to. And you learn that Sheehan needed to be with somebody who can constantly reassure that they're going to be there for him and that he's good, and Yuan is that person. They have this relationship that they have built over the course of years. And Yuan is like, listen, Shan, I got this. I'm going to need you to sit your ass down and just let me love on you the way I want to love on you, the way I know you need to be loved on. And Shan was just like, okay. And with the help of Sam Pang, because Sam Pang, to me, I feel like he felt like he owed Yuan, especially for sending him away and entertaining the stupidness that Sheehan had going on because he couldn't and wouldn't admit his feelings for Yuan. So I feel like Sam Ping is like, listen, you done had me send him away. You know he's one of my faves. He cooks me good food. You had me out here looking crazy the whole time you been in love with this boy. Nah, 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 nah. Back it on up like a U-Haul truck, baby. You want to say what you need to say and what you have to say to him. And everything just came together for Yuan, and I'm so happy for these two. Episode 11 was everything. And you guys, we are definitely going to be posting episode 12. You guys already know I'm doing this after work. Sis is tired. We definitely going to be posting episode 12 tomorrow, which is the series finale, the ending. We going to get the ending. How does Sheehan's surgery really pan out? And what is more surprises left for this couple to find out? This couple has another surprise in the clutch. It's another secret that needs to be released. But what is that secret? We're going to find out tomorrow. And if you've seen the series, you already know what the secret is. Okay? But we're going to post episode 12 tomorrow. If you guys like, love, and enjoy our amazing reaction videos, don't forget to like, comment, hit the subscribe button, also hit the notification button to know when we upload new videos. Also, be you, be amazing. Most importantly, be safe in these crazy streets. Laters, beautiful people.
Shadow turns to sun